This is Texas News Now, sponsored by Germania Insurance.
I'm Cynthia Izaguirre with a look at your North Texas headlines. Tarrant County officials voted to expand their partnership with ICE. And during debate, frustrations led officials to escort a man out of the commissioners' meeting. Brittany Costello was in the room as emotions ran high from both residents and county leaders.
County Judge Tim O'Hare was throwing his support behind a grant to allow the Tarrant County Sheriff's Office to beef up its partnership with federal immigration enforcement.
What this does is protect every single community, regardless of neighborhood status.
When Commissioner Court took a turn Tuesday, the Sheriff's Office escorted one man out, but tensions boiled over again with Commissioner Elisa Simmons, who is against expanding the county's relationship with ICE.
You don't think the rules apply to you? I know you don't.
I'm glad you found value.
We are now in recess.
During the recess, another man was forced to leave.
Go. You said outside, I'm outside now.
More than a dozen people showed up with signs asking commissioners to turn down a $140,000 grant from the state as part of a federal partnership.
That concerns me greatly.
The administration said that they were going to get the worst of the worst, but that's not what's happening.
There is no clear guarantee of safety, no clear oversight, and no clear accountability.
Just one person spoke in support.
I do support law enforcement.
Commissioners Roderick Miles and Simmons unsuccessfully tried to convince their colleagues to limit the county's reach.
I do not support ICE. I do not support this grant, and I do not support expanding immigration enforcement at the county level.
Commissioner Matt Krause claims the grant would only reimburse the county for work it's already doing.
We already have a partnership, whether people want it or not.
Commissioner Manny Ramirez sealed the deal for an expanded partnership with ICE.
It's not fair to vilify an entire profession, an entire workforce of federal law enforcement agents just because there are questionable things that have happened.
In Tarrant County, I'm Brittany Costello.
Students across Dallas ISD are making their stance on immigration enforcement known. 5 schools across the district held walkouts Tuesday, speaking against ICE agents in Dallas. Some parents even joined them. Now families tell Tiffany Liu they're not afraid of the consequences.
As organized as a protest gets. Dallas ISD students at Booker T. Washington High School walked out Tuesday against ICE. Careful to the law.
They are looking for ways to stop us.
Students marched to Clyde Warren Park, while many parents like Angelica proudly supported while watching the children's safety. The voices of students echoed.
Show me what democracy looks like! This is what democracy looks like!
Even families not with Dallas ISD joined.
I think it's great that they're using their voice.
Charity, who homeschools her daughter Aiden, says this is a moment to learn.
Especially since I'm homeschooled. Since I don't have much to do in my free time, it's like, hey, why not go out and stand for what's right?
Governor Greg Abbott has been outspoken about student protests.
The law of free speech is more complex than that. You don't have freedom of speech to say and act any way you want to, anywhere you want to, anytime you want to.
From his guidance, the Texas Education Agency set new rules.
If kids are skipping class, going out protesting, those schools are not going to be paid for that day.
Students who walk out will be marked absent, meaning schools could lose daily attendance funding. Plus, teachers or schools that support protests will be subject to investigation.
I don't think any punishment would have stopped me from coming out here today and being part of my school doing this.
For Paola, a Booker T. Jr., her cousin was detained and deported.
Him and his wife and his child were here on asylum. They were here legally.
This protest to her is personal.
As children, we should not be scared, but we are.
She is scared, but not silenced.
Make you feel like people aren't watching or even listening. Trust me when I say they are.
In Dallas, I'm Tiffany Liu.
She knows a hospital by heart, literally. A former NICU patient who fought for her life has overcome the impossible. Now she helps care for children who remind her exactly where she began. Here's Teresa Woodard.
This isn't just a building.
It is a huge part of my story.
It is the place that saved her. a place that raised her.
They are my extended family. I still refer to them as family. I'm doing good.
Now it is the place she works. Erin Hunter McFan is a program manager in the Heart Center at Children's Medical Center in Dallas, where she was once a patient.
At 9 months old, I had my first open heart surgery.
Where she spent 3 months in ICU, where she survived a congenital heart defect when survival was not certain.
By God's grace and through the care of the medical team, I'm still here thriving 7 open heart surgeries later.
The children's team repaired her heart and was right beside her when life broke it again. Erin's dad, Grand Prairie Police Sergeant Greg Hunter, was shot and killed in the line of duty when she was only 14.
I understand that when I was in the hospital, in that very critical beginning at Children's, that he would go to the chapel and pray. So I owe a lot of my strive, my dedication, my love and empathy for others to him.
The doctors and nurses who came to the funeral and to every milestone since, now colleagues.
That is my primary goal, is to give back for all of the care and support that I've received.
The team and the place that once saved her life now help her live a life of purpose, of meaning, of joy.
Always good to see you.
In Dallas, I'm Teresa Woodard.
And now to a story about a family tradition, a hand-me-down mixer and a 16-year-old who turned both into a dream. Here's Sean Giggy.
As a child, 16-year-old Audra Davis was interested in psychology until she was introduced to history, her own family history. A few years ago, Audra's dad, William Davis, inherited this mixer and a cookbook from his grandma.
Every birthday for me, my grandmother would make me a strawberry jello cake. And so I loved that, and that was kind of our tradition.
I was like, oh yeah, that's gonna be my thing.
Minnie Davis died before Audra ever really got to know her. Nevertheless, Audra felt drawn to that mixer. She'd done a little baking, but now kicked it into high gear. Baking as often as she could, as much as she could.
Definitely.
Cakes, cookies, banana pudding, whatever she was able.
That was when I was like, oh, like, I could make a career out of this.
So that's what she did. Started a bakery and called it Mixin' Minis, a nod to the woman who made it possible.
We'll probably only bake 6 right now.
Audra now wants to pursue a culinary career. She's part of the culinary team at Cedar Hill High School, and later this month, she'll compete in a culinary competition where she has the chance to earn a scholarship to culinary school.
But make sure that you don't add your eggs in while it's too hot.
But her greatest reward will always be that special ingredient that made it possible.
It's nice to know that this is what she did and this is what I'm doing now, and I'm able to bring her, I'm basically keeping her alive as the time goes by.
Love and sugar, a recipe for sweet success.
And she'll be with you at that competition. Those are your headlines from North Texas.
Hello there, Mia Grady here with a look at what's making headlines in Houston, starting with a Clear Lake woman who says she is fed up with bats that have taken over her apartment complex. And after years of unanswered requests, she's turned to us for help. Katira Winfrey has more from the University Green Apartments.
When the sun goes down, the bats come down from their colony inside this building's wall at the University Green Apartments. Melanie Bird says it's been a growing concern for years.
It's just ridiculous that I've had to take it this far to get something done.
Bird says she noticed the bats when she first moved in, but says she was reassured by apartment management the problem was rectified. And it seemed that way for a time, but around this time every year the bats get stirred up.
You hear them scratching on the walls. It's just, you can even hear them at night hitting the window.
She says bat waste lands on windowsills and ledges and wonders if any diseases they may carry is impacting her or her son, who she says has immune issues.
I've been dealing with a lot of it's a rash on my face area. At one point I had a full head to toe rash. We're just not sure what it is from. And for me, I feel like it's due to the bats.
Although she's been coping, keeping watch when she leaves and goes at night, the outside problem recently made it inside. She shared cell phone video of a bat flying in her room.
Until it's in your home and it's messing with your safety and your health concerns, then, I feel like then maybe it would be a problem for you.
Bird filed a report with 311 and says a wildlife expert is supposed to come check things out soon, but says nothing has happened in the past and wonders if it'll be the same.
That was Katira Winfrey reporting for us. Now to a shooting investigation. Houston police are looking into what they say was an illegal game room on the city's southwest side. Happened Monday night in a busy strip mall near the corner of Bissonnette and Fondren Road. Devon Roming has more from investigators.
Well, shattered glass here on the ground, along with a taped-off entryway, are all that's left here at this business, which police say was operating as an illegal game room just beyond that gray door. This all happened just before 9:30 Monday night, and when officers arrived, they found a security guard who'd been shot during an armed robbery. Officers say the location was operating as an illegal game room when the security guard was shot during the robbery. Houston Fire responded and pronounced him dead at the scene. And by the time police arrived, the business was mostly empty. But investigators believe there may have been more people inside.
There really wasn't anybody around by the time we got here, but we think there were people inside that fled. At this time, there is good surveillance at the location, so as soon as we get homicide here and they do the follow-ups, they should be able to pull some pretty good video of the incident.
Police say they do not have a suspect description and are still working to determine how many suspects may have been involved. Homicide detectives are now leading the investigation and reviewing surveillance video from inside the game room. Investigators with the Houston Police Department are asking anyone with information that could lead to an arrest in this case to call the Houston Police Department or Crime Stoppers at 713-222-TIPS. In Southwest Houston, Devon Roming, KHOU 11 News.
We are now just months away from the FIFA World Cup coming to Houston, and police say the crowds expected here will be unlike anything the city has seen, even compared to the Super Bowl or the Final Four. On Tuesday, Houston police laid out how they're getting ready. Troy Kless has more on those preparations.
When the teams go marching in, fans from around the world will be following their country to the Bayou City.
We understand how they're done elsewhere, and we're also applying what's unique to Houston.
Houston police anticipating hundreds of thousands of visitors throughout the World Cup. Houston is hosting 7 matches, but for 34 days, this section of Hutto, outside Shell Energy Stadium, will transform into the Fan Festival.
The fan experience will have a capacity between 5,000 and 7,500 visitors. Every day that a game is played during the tournament.
Houston police have already done exercises with their law enforcement partners. Councilmember Amy Peck, chair of the Public Safety Committee, at ease with the police planning.
My top concerns are that everyone is safe during FIFA, and anytime there's a big event like this in any major city, it unfortunately brings some element of crime, but HPD is working on that.
Police anticipating fans for several teams will be marching in and around Hutto and NRG Stadium on game days. Police are speaking with the visiting countries to make their time in Houston memorable but safe.
We will have to be flexible enough to adjust to unplanned assemblies, and we will staff with sufficient personnel to allow for contingency planning.
Thank you, Troy. Now, if you're a big fan of the world's most beautiful game, you might be familiar with Men in Blazers. They call themselves the largest soccer media company in North America. And their podcast is coming to Houston in advance of the World Cup. Ron Trevino visits the man who started Men in Blazers.
In the twists and turns and drama of soccer, one distinct voice slices through with hot takes.
We back on the Toronto Blue Jays, and what did we just witness?
And now Roger Bennett, creator of the Men in Blazers Media Network, is teaming up with the World Cup Houston Host Committee, bringing his podcast to H-Town.
I couldn't be more excited. Houston is one of the joys, one of the pearls, one of the places of wonder, and a city that's about to host the World Cup, one of 11 American cities. We don't know who's going to win the tournament.
Broadcasting live from Rice University on March 4th, 99 days out from the World Cup, and among his guests will be...
Yes, sir!
Houston's all-time favorite 99, a minority owner of 2 soccer clubs in Europe.
So to celebrate this moment with him and others on stage, we've got a whole plethora of sporting wonder coming onto stage with us from Houston royalty to celebrate this moment. It really can't be beat.
And Roger Bennett is also anxious to taste everything else Houston has to offer.
I'm going to eat all the Viet Cajun, all the crawfish I can get my hands on for 48 hours. I'm going to storm Pinkertons. I'm going to just dominate everything that Ninfos.
Say Ninfas!
You, Ron, will remember that it was the World Cup that made Ninfas go absolutely bloody global. It's magnificent.
Houston food indeed magnificent as we get ready to share it with the world for the World Cup. Ron Trevino, KHOU 11 News.
I sure hope he packs the elastic waistband pants along with those blazers for all the good food here in Houston. And with that, that's a wrap of your Houston headlines. I'm Mia Gradney.
For insurance you can trust, help is just a handshake away. Find your local agent at germaniainsurance.com.
Well, hey there, Texas. Today, we are expecting plenty of sunshine statewide. There could be a few clouds here and there, but that's pretty much it. Temperature-wise, it looks pretty pleasant, at least for most. Of course, the farther south you go, temperatures will naturally be a little bit warmer. Now, out in the Panhandle, one of the coolest spots today because we've had that cold front come through. So temperatures today in the mid-60s with a mix of sun and clouds. But over the next couple of days, temperatures will kind of hang out above normal. I think tomorrow afternoon, significantly warmer. It looks like temperatures will be climbing into the mid-70s. But by Friday, we're going to see increasing clouds, another chance of rain, and temperatures will be dropping down into the low 60s. Right now, the chance of rain, at least in Amarillo, doesn't look all that great, but it is certainly there, more so as we get into Friday night into early Saturday. So looking at Austin, it will be a lot warmer in Austin today. We're going to see lots of sun and temperatures will climb into the mid-70s, but very warm over the next couple of days. In fact, on Thursday, we're looking at a high of 80 degrees with low 80s expected by Friday. Kind of the same thing happening here around Corpus Christi today, actually, though, a high of 80 with low 80s continuing for the next couple of days. Across North Texas at DFW today, temperatures in the upper 60s with lots of sun. We're going to have a light north wind, and then by tomorrow afternoon, temperatures climbing to well above normal. We're going to be back in the upper 70s, and we're sticking with the upper 70s on Friday. But on Friday, we will be seeing increasing clouds, and there will be that chance of rain. But right now, it looks like that chance of rain will become a lot more likely once we get into Friday night. So in El Paso, we're going to be dry for the next few days and temperatures will be unseasonably warm today and tomorrow, but temperatures drop down into the upper 60s with the clouds of the next storm system rolling in for the weekend. So upper 60s expected on Friday. Around Houston today, there is going to be a very low chance of very light rain. Temperatures still make it into the upper 70s despite that. We stay in the upper 70s tomorrow, and tomorrow looks nice and dry with a high of around 80 degrees expected by Friday. Going back closer to the Panhandle around Lubbock, we are talking about temperatures in the mid-60s today, around 80 tomorrow with upper 60s expected on Friday because that chance of rain will become a lot more likely during that time. So looking at our timecast, this is at noon today and we do have lots of sun. You could see a few showers out near Houston, but that's not going to last very long. This evening, everyone looks nice and dry, plenty of sun, but clouds increase for some overnight tonight. Once we get into tomorrow morning, it looks like we're going to see lots of sunshine for the most part, a little bit more cloud cover out in the Panhandle and also in far South Texas near Corpus Christi. By the time we get into Thursday night, still very quiet. On Friday, clouds start to increase for many of us, but so far, so good. It looks like we're going to be nice and dry. By Friday evening, you can see the front. It's going to start to trigger at least a few showers, mainly along I-40, and you can see that just west of I-35. The coverage is certainly to be a lot heavier during that time, but once we get into Saturday morning, that cold front really starts to light up. It looks like we're going to see quite a bit of rain, and that's going to last through Saturday morning through for some of us, possibly even into your Saturday afternoon. By Sunday morning, most of Texas will be dry. So for tonight, certainly looking pretty dry. Temperatures will be very cool in some spots, chilly in others. About 39 degrees tonight in Waco, but 48 at DFW, 35 though in Lubbock, and a 46 overnight tonight in Austin. Tomorrow afternoon, we are going to see a lot more sun and temperatures will be very warm, unseasonably warm for many. Lots of us will see temperatures climb into the mid and upper 70s, about 77 degrees at DFW, 76 in Abilene, 76 in Lubbock, and about 78 later tomorrow in Houston. Looking at that air quality index, overall, most of us are going to be in that good category. You can see some locations around and near Austin are going to be in that moderate category. So let's break it down region by region across Texas, starting with West Texas first. El Paso today. Again, lots of sun. It's going to be very warm. Temperatures climb into the mid 70s tomorrow. Maybe a little bit more cloud cover, but we still stay in the mid 70s. We're looking at mostly cloudy skies on Friday. Temperatures will be coming down into the upper 60s out ahead of that next storm system that will be coming in by the time we get into Friday night. But around Lubbock, partly cloudy today and certainly a lot cooler. Highs only in the mid 60s, which is still pretty normal for this time of year. About 80 degrees though tomorrow, back down into the upper 60s on Friday with that storm system moving in. And then Midland, also the mid 60s today, a lot warmer tomorrow. And then by the time we get into Friday, temperatures in the low 70s. Central Texas around Austin, lots of sunshine today, mid 70s, but very warm tomorrow. And then by Friday, a little bit more cloud cover, but temperatures still make it into the low 80s. Check out Fredericksburg, low 70s today. Picture perfect. But tomorrow afternoon, upper 70s return, 80 degrees expected on Friday, and it does look dry during that time until we get, again, until Friday night into Saturday morning, there is at least going to be a low chance of rain. South Texas looking very warm. We've got mid 70s in San Antonio today, around 80 tomorrow, and Corpus Christi, I think we're going to hang out in the low 80s for the next few days. North Texas, pretty much the same all around. Dallas, Fort Worth, Weatherford, Denton, upper 60s today. Lots of sun. We're going to keep that sunshine around tomorrow, but temperatures climb into the upper 70s. Upper 70s sticking around for your Friday with increasing clouds, with the rain mainly moving in by the time we get into Friday night. And then East Texas, Houston today, we do have that chance of rain. Temperatures well above normal, highs in the upper 70s. And as we get towards the end of the week, we're looking at partly cloudy skies, and it will be just a few degrees warmer. Now looking at the valley, very warm. Mid 80s in McAllen today, upper 80s for the next couple of days, though, and not really seeing too many chances of rain. And then around Mission, Texas, upper 80s today, upper 80s tomorrow, and upper 80s on Friday.
For insurance you can trust, help is just a handshake away. Find your local agent at yourmediainsurance.com.
I'm Quita Culpepper with the headlines happening in Austin. Concerns are growing in Hutto over discolored water that neighbors say has persisted for days. According to city officials, a new pump station that came online Friday stirred up natural iron in the pipes. And while they say the water is still safe to drink, some residents are skeptical. Reporter Brianna Perez has more.
Today we're seeing a lot clearer, but yet it still has yellow. And you can also feel the rust as well as it smells like rotten eggs.
Nicole Ramirez has lived in Hutto for 3 years, and her water quality has varied, but a recent issue has her frustrated.
Sunday, I came home from camping and I wanted to take a clean bath, and it was brown. Even before I got in there, and I could not take a clean shower.
According to the city, a new pump station is pushing a stronger flow of water through the system, stirring up natural iron in the pipes. That's what's causing the tint, and officials say it's safe to drink.
Residents say the discolored water has been a problem for days. Although city officials insist it is safe to drink, many residents disagree, saying the discoloration shows up everywhere, from their showers to their laundry.
It looks to me like there's rust in the water still, I don't feel comfortable drinking it at all.
Ramirez and other neighbors say the city's slow response only fueled their frustration. Abby Fenton with the city says they didn't expect a significant impact for customers.
Once we realized that it was more widespread and affecting a large number of customers, that's when we put out public communication. We recognized that residents expect better and expect us to be more proactive with our communication in those scenarios, and we're committed to doing that better in the future.
As the city continues to flush the system, council members have approved funding for citywide water testing.
Residents deserve and expect water that's not only safe to drink, but that is clear, odor-free, sediment-free, and we're committed to providing that.
Officials say public works crews are now working on specific resident reports, so if residents are still having problems, they ask to file a report. In Hutto, Brianna Perez, KVUE News.
If Austin lost power during a heat wave, how many homes would remain livable and who would be most at risk? Those are the questions UT Austin researchers set out to answer. It's a first-of-its-kind study that assesses the indoor heat vulnerability for each single-family home in the entire city. Reporter Daniel Perot has more.
If the power goes out during a heat wave, new research from UT Austin says 85% of Austin homes could present a significant risk of death for an elderly person inside. For younger Austinites, that risk drops to 15%.
We want people to be aware that heat is a silent killer.
To determine the survivability for different groups, researchers simulated the conditions of a 3-day heat wave with temperatures above 110 degrees and a power outage. UT Jackson School of Geosciences professor Dave Niogi says the most vulnerable neighborhoods were Runberg and St. John's.
We start looking for areas where we have an older habitat and where we have less tree cover as the areas to be considered as vulnerable.
The heat risk for specific buildings can vary based on attributes like age, materials, and construction.
The more sidewalks, the more parking lots, the more rows you have, the hotter it is.
Mark Couder with Austin Climate Action and Resilience says the data will allow the city to take a methodical approach to mitigating risk and ensure resources reach those that need them most.
But we want to make sure that we're really focused on the areas that have high heat in ambient, sort of in the area.
For example, he says they could add cooling centers, create home weatherization programs, or look at planting more trees in the areas most at risk.
We want to make sure as the world gets hotter and as Austin gets hotter, we provide resources to people to ensure that they're safe.
In the future, every single family home in the city could face some level of heat risk. The UT City Collab predicts heat waves could double by the year 2100.
This requires a sustained way that we are developing a resiliency by increasing our tree cover, by developing an infrastructure that is adaptive to these extremes that is in place.
City leaders say the new data is a starting point. By better understanding the impact of heat, they hope to be better prepared to keep Austin cool in the future.
That was Daniel Perot reporting. UT researchers hope the study and solutions that come from it can be adapted to other places. An eco-friendly update is on the way for Austin energy customers who opt to get their power from renewable energy. Customers who subscribe to the Green Choice program get their power from 100% Texas-based renewable energy sources. And since 2001, Austin Energy has offered wind-powered energy through that program, and now they're adding solar power from across Texas. It costs about 3/4 of a penny per kilowatt hour of energy used, and that works out to an extra $7.50 per month for the average customer. More than 20,000 customers subscribed to Green Choice in 2024. This is Black History Month, and one Austin company is working to keep the history of the city's African American community alive, even as more and more longtime residents move out of the city. Reporter Adam Bennett introduces us to Black Austin Tours.
How's everyone doing today? Great.
On Tuesday morning, this Road Scholar tour group.
Is anybody from Texas, perhaps? No one's from Texas? Oh, that's fun.
Journeyed down East 11th Street to churches.
And has stood in East Austin from the beginning.
Homes, murals, and businesses.
So this was just one example of the juke joints that line this street.
To learn the history of and meet the people in.
Shout out to him. He's awesome. Love to see him.
The historic heart of Austin's Black community.
When you look around, do you get that impression?
and engage in dialogue about the changes here.
Some things change, others remain the same.
Julia Norwood led Tuesday's tour with Black Austin Tours.
We go to the Austin History Center, the Harry Ransom Center, all the different museums around, and gather as much information as we can. Lots of reading and research that either Javier does or we do.
Javier is Javier Wallace, founder and CEO of Black Austin Tours.
I want to make sure that our contributions, our histories and experiences will never be forgotten.
I spoke with Wallace from North Carolina, where he also teaches at Duke University. He's a native Austinite and history buff whose family history here goes back roughly 200 years. He started Black Austin Tours in 2019. The next year, social outrage after George Floyd's murder and virtual tours during the pandemic drew a larger, more diverse crowd.
I was like, no, this is something. And so then I had to invest in that something. And so then I started to read about business, how to run a business. I got into some coaching programs.
Wallace used that knowledge to grow his staff and their tours.
Besides East Austin, their most popular, they also guide visitors through Black history downtown, along local waterways, and much more.
That's my favorite part of the tours is, you never know what more you'll learn. You never know what questions you're going to get that it's going to incite you to go and do more research.
More opportunities to reveal more of Austin's Black history as they spend this February celebrating other Austinites
that people have been doing this work for decades,
who've walked this path before, and those still taking steps year-round to preserve this history. Adam Bennett, KVUE News.
And those are the headlines happening in Austin. I'm Quita Culpepper.
I'm Mike Gillespie in Corpus Christi, and here's a look at some of what's happening in South Texas. Well, after weeks of searching, missing Calallen teenager Bailey Reese has now been found. The 16-year-old was discovered in San Antonio by DPS troopers. Now, this all happened Tuesday morning when a DPS trooper assisting the United States Marshal Services made a traffic stop on IH-10 in Bexar County. The passenger in that vehicle was identified as the missing juvenile from Nueces County. The trooper and the deputy marshal then took Reese to University Hospital in San Antonio to get checked out and to wait for her grandparents. The teen has been missing since January 16th, where she was last seen leaving her Calallen home. The Nueces County Sheriff's Office confirmed that she is safe. The family says they are grateful that she has been found.
It's harder when you take longer periods of time to find someone because you don't know the dangers that they can come across when they're missing. That's why I tell everyone it's so important that we get out to the community.
That was Amy Canchola from the search and rescue team that helped in this effort. The U.S. Marshals, DPS, and Nueces County Sheriff's Office also aided in that investigation. Well, it seems like we just started the year, but spring break is coming up, and police in Port Aransas are getting ready for the crowds that come with that. Not just the locals, but we're talking about the tourists who will be hitting the beaches around the coastal town. In fact, we're told that during peak times, beaches will see 150 to 200,000 people. Port Aransas Police Chief James Stokes tells 3 News that they're looking at the spring break crowd numbers, and they expect events to last for about 2 weeks or so. Police will be increasing their presence throughout Port A and surrounding areas. Stokes says some of the main crimes they see near the beach include minors who are drinking. Now, along with that come the DUIs and public intoxication arrests. He says those who decide to do something illegal will likely be caught.
We take great pride in our community, so we want to make sure that the visitors that come down have a good experience and can enjoy the beach the way it's meant to be. So if you're exhibiting behavior that's going to attract attention, you're probably going to get attention from law enforcement. So we ask, respect our home and treat it like your own home.
And another warning for those planning to drink at the beach. Remember that no glass containers are allowed, and all traffic laws on the roads apply on the beach as well. But as always, your plan should also entail a safe, sober ride home for yourself and for others. Well, Well, after more than 4 years off limits, a Corpus Christi landmark is finally ready to welcome back visitors. Following extensive hurricane damage, we have now learned about a grand opening date for the new and improved Bob Hall Pier. Nueces County Commissioners tonight announcing that the pier will officially be open to the public on Tuesday, February 24th at 11 a.m. City, county, and, well, even state leaders will be invited to a ribbon-cutting ceremony marking the opening of the popular fishing spot. And more good news here, the iconic pier will be free for the public to use and enjoy for the first 90 days. Hey, as demo work continues on the Old Harbor Bridge, a full closure of I-37 near downtown is scheduled for later this month. Harbor Bridge officials say the crews will be demolishing overhead spans by using heavy equipment with safety monitoring in place. Detours will be posted, and drivers are urged to plan ahead and use alternate routes. That work set to begin next Friday, February 20th, and run through the 22nd. And that is a quick look at some of what's happening in South Texas.
I'm Bailey Bates. Here are your headlines from Central Texas. The Texas Department of Agriculture is warning of unsolicited, unidentified seeds showing up in packages. Officials say they could pose a serious threat to our state's agriculture. Our City Walker has more on what to do if the seeds find their way into your order.
They may seem harmless.
Any microscopic bacteria or virus could be in that package.
But Texas Agriculture Commissioner Sid Miller says these mystery seed packages are anything but.
Some of them have an unidentified liquid with them. We even had some bare root plants. Some of these have been noxious weeds that would harm our agriculture industry.
It's an issue they've seen on and off since 2020, but it's back.
In the last few months, we've got about 1,500 packages.
And different.
These seeds just show up at your house unsolicited. You didn't order them. They're not identified.
The biggest change, no one ordered them.
Sometimes those packages are actually labeled jewelry, or it'll say gift.
Dr. Shane McClellan with AgriLife said the fear is harm to the state's agriculture, from animals to crops.
They're laced with a disease that could hurt our native plants, could then endanger livestock. We don't know what it is.
Miller said the seeds are coming from China, connected to another purchase, unrelated to seeds.
People have either ordered items out of Temu or Amazon delivery.
Miller says he has brought this issue to Capitol Hill.
Now, what's worrisome about this, it's a serious flaw in our biosecurity system. They're not getting caught in any screening by biosecurity.
He encourages Texans to leave the seeds alone.
Don't open them. Don't plant them. Don't throw them in the trash and don't flush them.
And let them know.
What I'd like for people to do is call me and I'll send an inspector out. We'll pick them up. We'll test them, see what they are, and dispose of them properly.
So to contact them, you can dial the number 1-800-TEL-TDA to alert the Agriculture Department, and they'll collect them. And more news, neighbors in China Spring are raising concerns after their Amazon delivery driver was charged with a DWI. They say the driver was arrested after crashing into someone's mailbox. Here's Juliana Jackson.
This demolished mailbox in a China Spring neighborhood tells the story of what happened. Homeowner Justin Clark says his wife was coming home when she saw an Amazon delivery driver slam into it.
My wife calls me panicking because he had hit the mailbox, and I went down the road. She had stopped him.
Clark's wife chased the driver down the road and stopped him. That's when Clark says he noticed something wasn't right.
Over here pushing buzz balls down the drain and stuff, and come to find out he was under the influences, but
Clark called Waco police. When officers arrived, they gave the driver a sobriety test. Later, the driver was arrested on a DWI charge.
I was kind of shocked when he didn't pass the sobriety test. He went to jail that night, and yeah, kind of crazy.
Other neighbors tell 6 News they've had ongoing problems with reckless driving from delivery driving in the area.
We'll just kind of barrel around this corner, and it is frustrating because we do have a lot of kids playing. So thankfully, nobody was hurt or anything.
As for the mailbox, it was fixed days later. Clark says he sent the bid to the independent route owner, and within days, the owner sent payment to cover the repairs. Clark says while that part worked out, many people don't realize Amazon delivery drivers are often independent contractors.
It worked out pretty good, but you know, the guy was actually, I don't think he was going to come back and tell us. He told my wife he was going to, but he was quite a ways down the road when she chased him down and stopped him. So yeah, I think it was going to be a hit and run if we hadn't caught him in the act.
Well, Amazon sent us this statement saying we have a zero tolerance policy for impaired driving by those delivering to Amazon customers. The driver involved will no longer be eligible to deliver to Amazon customers. We also reached out to the route owner for more information, but haven't heard back yet. Those are your headlines from Central Texas.
For insurance you can trust, help is just a handshake away. Find your local agent at germaniainsurance.com.
I'm Isis Romero, and this is the news in San Antonio. After a shooting and fire nearby their neighborhood, people who live in the Lackland Terrace area hope an enforcement action by the city will help them be more at ease at night. Neighbors tell us they've been on edge because of one house in particular. Sue Kalberg has more on what the city is trying to accomplish.
I was here 6 days ago after a shooting over there and a fire in that house, and the neighbors said, when are we going to get some relief? Because the real problem is that house right down there. Well, today the city showed up and said, we've got you.
We want the neighborhood to know that we're addressing the property, and our main focus is to eliminate the nuisance.
Fighting, shooting, prostitution, drugs. Everything. The whole nine, whatever you could think of is happening.
Whatever bad thing.
Yes.
Terrible.
You're tired of it.
Yes, I am.
DART is the city's strike force, the Dangerous Assessment Response Team.
Our warrant is focusing on the health, safety, and welfare, the condition of the property, the condition of the structure.
Many times, homes like this are occupied by people who have no legal right to the property. The city offers them options for housing, and they arrested 3 people found to have active warrants. It offered neighbors a deep breath of peace.
Did you think, thank goodness?
Sure did. I have kids here. We need to have a safe neighborhood, and it's not safe.
The city doesn't call these actions raids, they call them inspections, and they promise that they will keep inspecting and keep acting until these folks get some relief. We'll follow along. In Southwest San Antonio, Sue Kalberg, KENS 5.
A man has been arrested after leading BCSO deputies on a high-speed chase, and he's accused of dumping $250,000 worth of drugs in the Guadalupe River. Simone Simpson has the story.
Deputies say what began as a traffic stop Monday morning along I-37 at Fair Avenue involving a 20-year-old suspect spiraled into a chase and ended up in Guadalupe County.
So let me get started with this mountain of drugs that are here in front of me.
According to BCSO, after leading deputies in a chase, 20-year-old Christian Lopez bailed out of his car and dumped about 25 pounds of drugs that tested positive for fentanyl and methamphetamine in the Guadalupe River near Seguin.
This is more than enough to kill a sizable portion of even a county as large as Bexar County.
Salazar says there are several theories as to why the drugs are mixed using fentanyl to drive the addiction. The sheriff's office believes this drug bust may be connected to the cartel, but will continue to investigate.
We know for a fact that fentanyl is actually 50 times more addictive than even crack cocaine. So hence the reason why they utilize it, they mix it in to make it a more addictive and more potent drug, which of course it's that much more of a chance that it could kill you. We know that this guy's probably not Chapo Guzman, he's not our drug kingpin, but we know that he probably knows a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy, and on down the line.
Lopez is being charged with manufacturing, delivering controlled substance, and evading arrest. Reporting from I-37, I'm Simone Simpson, KENS 5.
Big changes are coming for Judson ISD families. The school board voted Monday night to close 3 elementary schools and 1 middle school for the upcoming school year. Rania Kaur has a recap of the board meeting.
Board members say they're looking ahead, taking into consideration declining enrollment and more families choosing private and homeschool options. Many of the board members are concerned about school choice, the voucher program that the state rolled out this year that helps pay for private schools if families apply and receive the money. There's also concern of students dropping out for a homeschool option. With that, a lot of the board members said closing 3 elementary schools and 1 middle school would allow them to not worry about possibly closing more campuses.
But I'm also looking at the impact of vouchers and homeschools and all of these things that are coming in at us, whether we like it or not. And that looks like we have a loss of students coming. And we're trying to estimate for that.
Board member Jose Macias was the only vote against the decision to close 4 campuses. He was pushing for only 1 elementary school and 1 middle school to close because he argued a lot could change between now and next year. Now, which schools will be closed has not been finalized yet. This upcoming Saturday, the board members will have a meeting where they will be given a short list of the campuses that could possibly close. That meeting starts at 9 a.m. and there is an opportunity for public comment. Board members will be finalizing their decision this upcoming Monday, so next week. And of course, we'll be keeping you updated on the very latest. Rania Kaur, KENS 5.
A brand new space for play and learning is now open on the west side. The YWCA San Antonio held a ribbon-cutting ceremony for a playground at its Women's Center. The playground was built by Kingdom for Kids, an initiative of the Rotary Club of San Antonio and spearheaded by longtime community leader Rick Cavender. YWCA leaders say the playground is part of a larger investment in early childhood education and family support. And that's the news in San Antonio.
Hi, I'm Brennan Gurley, and here's what's making headlines across East Texas. An East Texas family is opening up about a sudden, heartbreaking loss of a young loved one. Their story is a powerful reminder of how fragile life can be and how important it is to pay attention to your heart health. CBS 19's Ayana Aird shares the journey and the message they hope will save lives.
We got some family pictures we took here. And then that's Lulu when she was little.
Losing a loved one is never easy, especially when it happens suddenly.
She had a seizure and she went into cardiac arrest and she passed at 29 years old on May 30th, 2025.
Stacia Hardy, known to her family as Lulu, had epilepsy and a history of seizures for 3 years. Her sister Angel says Lulu planned to see a neurologist but passed away 4 months before that appointment. Angel says it was the last thing she ever expected.
You know, it hurt more so like you lost your best friend because we're all so close-knit. So, and she's like the biggest missing piece of our puzzle that's missing right now.
According to the American Heart Association, more than 417,000 cardiac arrests occur each year in the U.S.
Lulu, she was just the little sister that I feel like everybody needed. I feel like if you had Lulu as a sister, you was tested on all. She would protect us. She watched over us.
Lulu's big heart inspired her to pursue a career in neurology.
She had those same diagnoses and those same kind of symptoms that a lot of the patients that we have come in every day have. And it's kind of like, you know what? God just do things in mysterious ways.
Now, her family hopes Lulu's story serves as a reminder for others to take their health seriously.
Go to these cardiovascular surgeons, go to your cardiologist, stay up to date with what's going on with your body.
An unimaginable pain remains, but so does the love she left behind.
A sibling is somebody that you're supposed to have into the very last day, and for her to go so early, it hurts, but I'm glad that we got 29 years, you know.
For CBS 19, I'm Ayana Aird.
A fatal dog attack in Longview is now being tested in a Gregg County courtroom. And today, jurors heard disturbing testimony as the dog owner accused stood trial for the first time. CBS 19's Nayeli Carrillo takes us inside the courtroom.
Tuesday morning in Gregg County, Martin Gilbert Rodriguez came face to face with the evidence prosecutors say led to the death of Kenneth Pearson.
You can see there is noticeable trauma to both his right and left arms.
His pants had been pulled down, and there's tearing of the clothing of the jeans and the shirt. And then you can see his wallet sticking out of his back pocket here.
Investigators testified Pearson was riding his bicycle near Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard and Rayburn Street in February of 2024 when he was attacked by a pack of dogs. They say lack of containment and repeated complaints set the stage for tragedy.
I have had to, on previous occasions, deploy OC spray to the animals to keep them from coming after myself.
DNA evidence later connected the dogs seized from Rodriguez's property to Pearson's death. The impact of the attack stretched far beyond the courtroom. In the months that followed, the Longview City Council passed new animal ordinances aimed at strengthening public safety and holding pet owners accountable, including requirements for microchipping, vaccinations, and spaying or neutering. A veterinarian testified dogs can behave very differently when moving as a pack, especially when reacting to fast-moving objects like bicycles, describing what she called a pack mentality.
Sometimes they do, but they don't necessarily start to fight with each other, but they get real like, this is mine, and want to take possession of it. And that's more commonly seen in obviously more than one dog, but the more you have and the more less socialized they are, the more likely they are to get into that frenzy. We sometimes refer to it as pack mentality.
The 4 dogs that were seized from Rodriguez's property were euthanized. Rodriguez has pleaded not guilty and could face up to 20 years in prison if convicted. In Longview, Nayeli Carrillo, CBS 19.
And that's a wrap of your East Texas headlines. I'm Brennan Gurley.
Your headlines from Southeast Texas. I'm Mark Armstrong. In an exclusive interview, the fiancé of 31-year-old Rudolph Lassant told 12 News that she can't believe that her best friend is gone. Police say that Lassant was shot and killed Friday night near Woodrow Avenue in Beaumont. Victoria Smith telling us that he was a great father to her children and that he had a heart of gold. Now, Beaumont police say 18-year-old Charles Seegers, he is still wanted for his murder. Smith says the two men knew each other from around their neighborhood. 12 News reporter Ebony Coleman has the latest.
It's horrible and it's heartbreaking.
A life cut short and a family left picking up the pieces. After Beaumont police say 31-year-old Rudolph Lassant was found dead inside this crashed car on Woodrow Avenue Friday night.
The victim went to see the suspect, and then an argument started. As the victim was leaving, that's when the suspect started shooting at the victim as he was leaving in the car.
Beaumont police officer Cesar Biati says Lassant and the suspect, 18-year-old Charles Seegers, knew each other. He says the shooting happened at the suspect's home about a block away from Woodrow Avenue.
Our detectives on different divisions from the police department are looking for him, along with the Jefferson County Warrant Division. So we're really asking the public's help to help us locate him.
Lassant's fiancée, Victoria Smith, says Seegers took the love of her life.
He just wanted to be there for me and his kids, that's it.
We spoke to an anonymous resident that lives in the South Park neighborhood where the shooting happened. She says she heard the shots being fired.
It was like 3 loud cannon shots.
She says violence in her neighborhood is not out of the ordinary.
They just have to shoot them, and it's so sad and it's so angry and it's so frustrating.
Meanwhile, Lassant's family is remembering a man that brought love to every room he walked into.
Rudy was my brother-in-law, but we didn't consider Rudy a brother-in-law. We consider Rudy a brother.
Police, they are urging anyone with information about the suspect to contact them or Crime Stoppers. They say he's armed and dangerous. Well, just a few blocks away from all this, Beaumont police arrested a man Friday night after investigators said that he fired shots, then tried to run from officers. According to court documents from Judge Mark DeRuin, an officer saw Terrence Von Spain's car make a U-turn without signaling and then stop. He then stepped out of the car and the officer heard gunshots. When police tried to stop him, they say that he took off, leading them on a brief chase. Spains was later caught and arrested. Now, he now faces deadly conduct and evading arrest charges and is in the Jefferson County Jail on bonds totaling $60,000. The city of Orange is starting to use artificial intelligence to make information easier for residents to understand. City officials say that the planning department now uses tools like ChatGPT and Google Gemini. Right now they're using free versions so that there's no added cost. City leaders say that they mainly use them to help draft and review letters, simplify regulations, and break down technical language into something easier for people to understand.
So we're going through our ordinances and thinking of things to where we can explain it better, or maybe create diagrams, to help explain regulation, because that is much more helpful for the people.
City leaders say that they are still learning and watching how other cities use AI, with the possibility of expanding its use in the future. Bridge City hosting a community leaders forum. The public meeting is going to focus on future park features as the city begins work on a parks master plan expected to be completed by the end of the year. That meeting is Tuesday at 6 p.m. in the community center. City of Beaumont's week of planning for the future of the city and its 20-year comprehensive plan continues this week. There's an open studio from 9 to 6 Tuesday at the downtown public library and 2 focus group meetings. Now, one of them is 10 to 11:30 a.m. on housing and land use. The other is 1 to 2:30 on infrastructure and utilities. There's also going to be presentations from 4 to 6 at the R.C. Miller Library on Dowling. Visit planbeaumont.com for more information. And those were your headlines from Southeast Texas.
Texas News Now is sponsored by Germania Insurance.
For insurance you can trust, help is just a handshake away. Find your local agent at germaniainsurance.com.